Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Golden Rosa Tarot. I hope you're all doing well today. Um, I thought today I would come on and do a reading. I'm recording this about a week or so before Halloween, which is also nearby All Saints Day, Day of the Dead. And so, as we know, this is the time when the veils between the worlds become thinner, when it becomes easier to access information from other realms, from our ancestors, from those on the other side. And so I thought today would be a good day to just open ourselves up to their love and wisdom, to the ancestors in all forms, that the earth is an ancestor, that, depending on what you believe, our fellow, plants and animals and minerals and earth can all be ancestors to us. I have a seashell and I have a rock from the mountains where I go today in this set because those are ancestors to me. They're places I love to visit and experience just a very deep connection to beyond even my past as a human being, like where we all come from in this very elemental way, all of life coming out of the ocean, or all of time being, on earth being condensed into the stones. And so I respect that everyone has different beliefs. I'm not trying to tell anyone what to believe, but as I've opened myself up to a broader and broader definition of ancestor, it's been very healing, here on this earth, because obviously earth is scary and human relationships aren't perfect. And the more we can extend our sense of what an ancestor is to all the beings around us, the more we can feel held and loved and supported. I'm opening myself up today to be a little bit of a channel to the other side, so it's possible some messages will come through here and there. Not really sure how that's going to work. I I think that we all are mediums. I think that we all have the ability to communicate with the other side, to hear messages from the other side. I think most people have had those kind of experiences, whether they acknowledge it as such or not. And I don't think it's something that makes us special. It's just something that we can all do, and maybe we start to do it more the more we listen and acknowledge those kinds of experiences. And for myself, it always happens very spontaneously. I've never, just been able to summon someone from the other side, but sometimes, you can really feel when someone pops in. So at this time when the veils are thin, we're just opening up the door and saying, "Dear Spirit," we're calling upon all of our ancestors that want to come through in this reading today, that want to give us messages of hope and love and inspiration and healing and wisdom. There's not a theme, there's not an agenda. It's just exploratory journey to see where they want to take us. And I'm excited to take this journey with you. So let's get started. I'm going to start off with the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. This is by Phyllis Karat. Oh, first off, I want to say a shout out to my very dear friend. I'm sure when she watches this, she'll know who she is. I don't know how she feels about being called out, in front of tens of people, but she gave me these beautiful gloves, and I was like, I gotta wear them because it's the Halloween version of the reading. But is that the word? Not version, edition? Whatever. It's the Halloween reading, and I get to wear my cool spooky gloves that my dear friend gave me. So, dear friend, thank you. So, dear Spirit, dear ancestors, would you please come through for us today? With just a couple cards here to get us started on our journey. What are the overall themes or overarching themes that you would like us to explore today? What's a jump off point? Dear Spirit, how are we going to jump off on this journey with you today with our ancestors? I have such a hard time with these cards. They're really big. So trying to hold them in my little hands here. You see how that's a lot. Okay. So I'm going to go with these two that popped out right away. We have a goddess of air, and we have 7 of fire. I'm going to refer to the book because this is not a traditional tarot deck. It doesn't have meanings that are like a traditional classic deck. So let's see what it says. I chose this deck because it's very earth-based, and like I said before, I do believe that the earth is our greatest ancestor. Obviously, none of us could be here without the earth, right? Not possible. Not possible to have a life on earth without the earth. She's kind of the main attraction, the main ancestor here. I always say the best thing about being on earth is the earth. You know, the earth is so beautiful, so magical. And we're so lucky we could experience her here. So, okay, I found the 7 of fire. Where is the goddess of air? Okay, the wisdom of the goddess of air is ancient and ever present. The goddess of air spins the fabric of infinite connection. She untangles the past, repairs the present, and weaves the future. She is grandmother spider, braiding destiny with the passage of time. Fingers and feet on the web of life, she feels every movement, senses the smallest vibration, and knows what lies beneath the surface. In one hand she holds a spindle, in another a knife, in another a sistrum to set the tempo for 1 billion heartbeats allotted to all living beings before she cuts the thread and weaves the magic of life again. I think a sistrum is like a rattle, I'm guessing. The essence of this card is interconnectedness. Fix your relationships, cut ties, and release the past. The counsel is your life is interwoven with those of your family, friends, and community. The goddess of air asks, do you recognize how many connections tie you to others and to the natural world on which you depend? What energies flow between you and others? What you are sending out, taking in, giving back? How can you cut the ties that don't serve your life? How can you mend those that do? How can you nourish your relationships with the community of creation? So, what a profound message to start off with, ancestors. Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? It's like we are so profoundly connected to everything. Like none of us could live without, you know, obviously the earth, but each other. You know, we have a society that's very focused on this individualistic, mentality, but none of us could survive without the people who are, playing their roles in life. You know, the people who make your shoes, the people who work at the grocery store, the people that work in factories and create the nuts and bolts that create the machines that we depend on every day. But even beyond that, like our plant and animal friends, we could not survive without. You know, we need them for food, we need them for our souls, we need them for beauty, we need them for companionship. You know, like we're so interwoven with all forms of life. You know, so I think that that's something that I hear a lot when I watch like near-death experience videos is people realizing when they're on the other side how connected we all are, and it's part of the earthly experience is to come here and feel like we're separate. It's we get this sort of amnesia and we forget that we're all connected, that we're all one great soul working in unison together to evolve and create and make magic together. So awesome message. Thank you. uh, so next we have the 7 of fire, which is representative in this deck of benevolence. The wisdom is the sun is shining and the world is warm and beautiful, full of wisdom. Among blooming red roses, a lion wishes to offer medicine that will transform your life. Walk together and learn that strength is not shown just by feats of courage or acts of violence, but it takes strength to be a compassionate guardian who nurtures and protects with quiet, determined integrity. Benevolence fills the garden of the world and life blossoms. The essence is conviction, integrity, resolve, serenity. All will be well. The counsel is You're living in a time of challenge, when many precious truths have been forgotten. But look within into the natural world and you'll find the conviction and the values that give your life meaning. Embodying and defending these doesn't require anger, violence, or aggression, but clarity, commitment, and consistency. That is integrity, and it will give you the strength and joy. And that's something I find to be really true myself. I'm often overwhelmed by the events of the world that are happening right now that are just, horrific. And it's really just when I can go out into nature and when I can tune into like what is, the earth herself is inherently good, it's inherently beautiful, it's inherently good. And we've become so disconnected. We've become so disconnected from the earth and from each other. And it allows us to play out these really, shadowy aspects of ourselves within societies. And so it is really important to have a place where you can go and like build your strength and build your fire. And yeah, I think nature is, for me, the best place to do that. All right, so let's move on. And we'll go into some plant friends. We'll ask our dear ancestors, will you please speak to us through the beautiful plants of this planet? Plants that offer us so much wisdom and growth and expansion and healing and peace. Thank you for these gifts of these beautiful plants. And will you please speak to us on how we can feel more joy, more benevolence, more interconnectedness, how we can be wise weavers of the webs of our own life and of our societies and life here on earth. Will you please grant us some wisdom through the plant world? Thank you. Sorry for my slow shuffling. If you watched these videos before, you're probably used to it. If you're watching it for the first time, I just read jumpers. Sometimes they come out fast and sometimes they come out slow. So please bear with. I want to get the right message. Everyone has a different take on reading jumpers. Some people don't read them at all. But I feel like for me, that's the only way I can completely bounce over my own mind, as opposed to just picking cards. So that's how I do it. Dear Spirit, how would you like to speak to us through the plant world today? What advice do you have to give us? And from this deck today, we're getting chamomile and inner peace. I love a cup of chamomile tea. I've finally learned to appreciate chamomile. It seems very, it's a very gentle medicine. It's not gonna like knock you off your feet, but being a very sensitive person, it really helps me. I have to have it every day. So the message of chamomile is inner peace. Peace, restoration, softness, purity, graceful power, inner peace, delightful harmony. When its energy is in the reverse, or the shadow aspect, it's disharmony, emotional distress, excessive worry, exhaustion, and anxiety. The guidance through chamomile today is, if you find yourself often triggered and consumed by small stresses, be aware that they accumulate, creating a chronic state of stress, disharmony, and fear. Chamomile today is reminding you to not project your fears onto life and others. Allow yourself a state of internal peace and give yourself the greatest love imagined. Chamomile, like deer energy, instills a contained center of innocence, warmth, and light within us. Dear blesses us with the power of gentleness to heal our wounds and the heart mind of the wounded beings. Don't push hard to do the work. It's the gentleness of spirit that heals all. Well, that's really beautiful. I've been getting that a lot in my own readings I do for myself, to approach healing from a gentler place, because it isn't giving ourselves that gentleness that we are missing at some point in our lives, that caused the wound in the first place. That is sort of the medicine we need, right? It's like that peace and that gentleness. And it spoke to me too, and it's talking about not reacting from fear, because if you look at the things that are happening in the world right now that are really truly atrocious, and I don't want to go down that road, but I think most of you know what I'm talking about. When you look at it from the perspective of spirit, you can see that the perpetrators of the worst, most horrific things that are happening on the planet right now, they're acting out of fear. They don't feel safe, they don't feel peace inside of themselves, and so they have the need to project that sense of, it's like a scarcity consciousness. It's a sense that, they're not protected by something higher, like they're not protected by the universe. The universe is not a loving, kind place that cares for them. They have to go out and kill and maim and murder and oppress and steal to get their needs met, and that's not at all how the universe works. That's not the working of a higher source creator whatsoever. It's as far as anything I've read or studied or experienced with that, love source energy that we all are, is like we are all loved. We do go through difficulties so that we can learn, but it's never that we're not loved. It's never that we're not held in a very sacred way, that we're not cared for, and so the more we can give this energy to ourselves, and the more we can give it to the people around us, the more we can embody that energy that is the true reality. That's the universe is a kind and loving place, even though Earth is difficult and even though Earth is challenging. It's all by design. We were meant to come here and experience challenges, because from everything I've heard, you don't evolve as much when you're floating around in a state of bliss as a little energy bubble, on the other side. So our lives on Earth and our challenges are gifts, but we have to stay in this like presence of ourselves. And it's very challenging for me. I'm not preaching something that I've mastered by any means. I deal with a lot of anxiety, which is why chamomile tea is a great ally for just helping you to kind of slip into a little calmer state, a little more relaxed, a little softer, a little gentler with ourselves and others. So thank you, chamomile. Thank you, ancestors, for this advice. This is very, very much giving me grandma energy, right? Like, have a cup of tea, dear. I remember drinking tea with my grandma, and I miss that all the time. But just the simplicity, and once again, just the proof that the earth is always providing us with these gifts, these tools, these friends and allies, that are there for us, even if our grandma has passed on, and is an ancestor in the spirit realm now. We can still access this gentle, soothing energy through the earth herself. She is our sort of ultimate mother, and she's going to be here with us for the whole ride. Like, there's not going to be any point when you're a human and you're not on the earth. So she's always going to be here with us, and she gives us this beautiful gift of chamomile. Well, let's go now to our woodland creatures. I really love this deck. It's definitely gives me fall vibes. There's something about fall that just makes me like want to be in the forest. And where I live, I don't have a forest really. I have mountains and I have ocean, but I miss the forest. So I like this deck because it's about forest creatures and forest plants. So dear ancestors, how would you speak to us today? What words of advice and wisdom and love would you give us through the forest creatures and plants? All right, we have the antelope and the wheat. And the word for this card is nourishment, which is kind of making me laugh, I have to admit, because we were just talking about grandmothers. And if there's one thing grandmothers usually want to do with you, it's feed you, right? And it's such a beautiful gift, you know. They really did feed our entire existence. They fed us, you know, through their bodies of creating our parents. They fed us through food. They fed us through love. They really, you know, and I don't want to say for everybody, I'm so sorry if that wasn't your experience with your earthly grandparents. And obviously, it's, you know, it's not a one size fits all situation, but I guess I'm speaking for myself. When I think of my grandma, I just think of, you know, my Italian grandmother, just like, you know, feeding you till you just are stuffed and you can't breathe. And it's the sweetest form of love. So I love that this card is coming up of nourishment. The ancestors are like, eat, eat, eat. Excellent. Sorry, my brain's having a little short circuit with Roman numerals. We're looking for 14. Where? Huh. Oh, I see. They're aligned? No. Okay, well, this looks like 14 and this looks like 14. So maybe I'm just that blind. Or maybe I'm just going to have to flip through it. Sorry for the inconvenience of time here. I feel like I should like hit a commercial button. We'll be back after these messages. Like the stuff tarot reading nightmares are made of. When you can't find the card and the camera is rolling. And I'm somebody that just I just do my reading straight through. I don't go in and edit them, so I'm sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk with your ancestors. Say hey. Hey, what's up? How you doing? I think they like to hear from us. Sometimes I feel like a bug mine, like I talk to them too much, but that's probably just my own insecurity. This is really funny though, because like I think I found the right number, and yet it's not coming through. Yeah, it's like it's just literally not on the page that it says it is. And I've never encountered this. So if I ever pull this card again, I'll know that it's not there. I feel like it's been like 20 minutes of me looking. So since I can't find the descriptor on here, I'm just gonna go with the message that, oh wait, well, now let's fails, right? Read the index. The index only just says the Roman number again. Okay. After this reading, I'm going to go through this book very slowly and try to find that card. But I think let's just go with like the ancestors are telling you to eat. Eat, eat, eat. Manja, 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 as they'd say in Italian. Um, which is a cute message to come through. I'm sure most of us can relate to being fed a lot by our ancestors. We gotta eat to survive here, right? Okay, so now I have a beautiful new deck to share with you guys. It's a gift from my dear friend who also gave me these cool gloves. And this is Botanical Inspirations. And let's get some advice from the ancestors through the flowers. I think the flowers have to say this today. Dear ancestors, which messages do you have for us today? Coming from the flower kingdom. We have Magnolia. Nobility and self-esteem. There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. Ernest Hemingway. It reminds me too of how your ancestors are always like, you're the best. You know, you get so much love, like that self-esteem they give you. Okay. And the book says, according to fossil records, the magnolia tree was the first flowering plant to have evolved on Earth. Oh, that's really cool. So the magnolia itself is a major ancestor. First flowering plant on Earth. That is cool. Really cool. In ancient China and throughout South America, the magnolia flower has held special significance to brides, symbolizing nobility and stability. In pagan rituals, the luminous white magnolia invokes the lunar goddesses. Since Victorian times, the magnificent magnolia flower has come to emblaze dignity, self-esteem, poise, and nobility. The inspirational message. Nobility is not just something you're born to or a quality you wish for. It's an evolving process requiring lifelong commitment. To develop self-esteem, commit esteemable acts, to build good character, and act with nobility of purpose. So yeah, it sounds very much like an ancestral message, doesn't it? Like they want us to feel good about ourselves. They want us to feel good and act right and, you know, create a good world through our acts. You know, to be noble in ourselves, to have good self-esteem, but to not be, you know, arrogant in that we place ourselves before others in our actions. You know, so very good advice from the ancestors. Thank you, and thank you, Ancestor Magnolia. I'm gonna think about that every time I say magnolia now. Can you imagine being the first flowering plant on Earth? Sorry, I'm gonna just go off on a tangent. I'll stop myself, but how cool, right? Can you imagine being there like the moment like the first flower appears on Earth? I wonder, I'm gonna have to Google like how long ago that was. So let's go now to our crystal and mineral kingdom. Ask for an ancestral message through the crystals, through the rocks, through the minerals. Dear ancestors, do you have a message for us through the minerals, crystals, and rocks today? I feel like everything in this reading is kind of like slow motion, but it's interesting because if you think about ancestors and you think about, being on the other side of the veil and how time really is an illusion, like we always feel like we're like in a hurry on earth and we're running out of time. Maybe the ancestors are subtly telling us to slow down, take a deep breath, observe what's around us, observe what's within us, be present in the eternal present that we're always in, because there truly is no death. We just continue in other forms and other dimensions. And we are just exactly where we're meant to be at this point for our soul's evolution. So, we can get caught up in destination addiction, like our life's going to happen when we get to this place, when we have a certain job or relationship or a certain amount of money in the bank. And it's good to have goals. It's not saying don't move forward, but to kind of appreciate each step of the journey where we are, because even our lives, we'll probably look back, even though they're hard, and have some nostalgia, have some good moments here. So, I also think about the ancestors kind of moving a little bit slow, because, they get what's up, they know it's just not really a rush to life, Our society is very rushed and sped up because it has its ulterior motives for us, but true reality is just kind of being wherever you are at. So I think maybe there's this message of patience coming through in a subtle way. So we have two crystal friends. We have Ephrylite, Curiosity, and we have Emerald, Cognizance. So for Ephrylite, we have your curious nature is all a part of your soul's journey in this human experience. Being curious opens new adventures and doors in life that may have been blocked or closed due to your innate fears about understanding and comprehending the unknown. Without curiosity, you would remain complacent, halting your ever-looming expansion. Your soul, mind, and body yearn for new information and new experiences, and holding space for your curiosity can take you down the road to your destiny. Jupiter is referred to as the god of planets, sitting as one of the brightest stars in the solar system. Sorry, I just added the word stars. It wasn't actually there. It's one of the brightest planets in the solar system, and representing optimism, power, and knowledge, and expansion. Jupiter spreads optimistic vibes and allows you to see what's possible to achieve in your lifetime, providing inspiration for you to head towards spiritual and mental expansion. Over time, through your expansion with Jupiter, you will gain wisdom, faith, and trust in the universe to guide your life where it may be. At the end of your journey, Jupiter may even adorn you with a bit of luck and good fortune for following where your curiosity led you. So, I should have mentioned, this is a astral realms crystal oracle, so it talks about crystals and their astrological correspondences, and the astrological correspondence for Ephrylite is Jupiter, the planet Jupiter. So I should have mentioned that. Make it more sense. And that's a good message for us right here on Earth. It's like it is a temporary experience, so we might as well get curious. We might as well explore all the little nooks and crannies and check it out while we're here. Like just like when you're in a little video game and you go see what's under a rock, or go hop across the stream or into the stream. There's infinite things to explore and experience here. And I think that's what our souls really crave when they come to this dimension, is this, the variety of experiences that we have here. So it reminds me of the Ananis Nin quote: our life expands or contracts, according to our level of courage. So curiosity would also be a portal to having a more interesting and varied kind of life, and finding some kind of, just like in a video game where you can, look under a mushroom and there's this, amazing new tool or something. Like, we have that kind of magic in our real life too. You never know what you're going to find. Okay, next we have emerald with cognizance, I think is the word. So I'll put this out here right away. The emerald is associated with Mercury, the planet Mercury, which is a lot about communication, interdimensional experience, varied experiences, also very kind of curious energy. So it says, the way you learn to communicate is equal parts nature and nurture. You're influenced by the way you're raised, what you were taught in school, and what you subconsciously learn via observation. You process this information and your personality quirks and tendencies develop as a result. Is your communication style balanced, soft, brash? Are you aware of the way you make others feel with your words? You're responsible for the way you process information and for the way you put that information into the world. Take this into account for the next few days during your interactions. Direct your awareness inwards and observe how you are communicating with yourself. An awareness of your self-talk is a powerful tool for development of your mental strength. As well as learning from your surroundings, Mercury plays a role in your communication style and impacts how you interpret and process information. It's the smallest and fastest moving of the planets and often referred to as the messenger. Often, Mercury's placement in your natal chart will bring valuable insight into how you need to adjust or develop the way you're speaking to yourself and others. And yeah, I've brought it up a couple times, but I keep watching like near-death experiences on YouTube, which I totally recommend. It's become sort of a spiritual exercise for me because it really does transcend any belief system, but it does give you an idea of kind of like what it's all about. Like it's the contrast of our life here on earth is our life in spirit. Like there's like night and day. It's like two sides of the same coin. Like we come to earth to experience diversity and density and struggles and challenge. Then we go to spirit to rest and reflect and be at peace and not deal with all the chaos, but also not have all the opportunities to learn that we have on earth. But one thing that comes up over and over when I watch these readings is something called a life review. And if you're not familiar, it's a lot of people when they go to the other side, they say they basically watch like a movie of their life, and they watch the way they don't just watch, but they can feel actually how they affected the people around them. And so I think that this card about communication and the way we speak to ourselves and the way we speak to others, it's a really important thing that I think our ancestors realized when they went to the other side, that everybody say there's a Depeche Mode song, everything counts in large amounts. It's like the way we speak to ourselves, the way we speak to the people around us, it has a profound effect on everything. Like those ripples of emotion and energy ripple out, and they affect not just the person that you're speaking to, but they affect the people that come in contact with that person, and so on and so forth. And so it's just a good thing. It's there's no shame in it. Like we've all had bad days, we've all been snippy and snappy and angry, and it's part of the human experience. But if we just have in the back of our mind, in our interactions, that someday we're going to understand how we made the people around us feel. And from what I see in these videos, there's never a judgment from like an external God. It's just that you have to watch that yourself and feel that yourself. So it's not a shaming thing, but it's something to be aware of. Like, would you rather watch your life and be like, wow, I feel really good because I put so much good energy into the people around me, or you'd be like, oh no, I better come back to earth and do this again. I better try again. And we have all of eternity to keep trying again. But I think this probably was a profound thing for our ancestors to experience, and they want to let us know that our words really do affect the people around us, and to be mindful of that. So thank you, ancestors, for these beautiful messages through our crystal friends. Just going to do a couple more here. And I do apologize, I'm a little bit spacey today. You've probably noticed. The problem is that I have a very low tolerance to sugar, and I ate a date, which, shouldn't be that big of a deal for a normal person, but it's made me really like fuzzy headed. So thank you for bearing with my spaciness, but I hope that the messages are still coming through and it's still enjoyable reading for you. I'm kind of fighting my way through here. I learned a big lesson. Don't eat dates before I do a reading. Let's just do a couple more here. I want to consult our inner child deck, because I don't care how old you are when you pass away. Like if you're 120, you still have an inner child within you, And I would like to hear what the ancestors would advise us in the areas of caring for and tending to our inner child. Because the thing is, like, none of us get our needs completely met through our parents. It's not possible. Like, we all have an individual, set of traumas and, you know, beliefs and things that happen to us. And then we have our skills and our things that we're good at and not good at. And there's no way that we can give our children like the perfect parent. And that's okay. Like, we don't come here to experience perfection. We come here to learn how to love ourselves and make ourselves whole in the face of imperfection. And so, starting from an adult, you become the parent to your own inner child. And it's a really important role. It becomes your job to take over where your parents, couldn't fill certain holes in your heart or couldn't heal certain wounds or couldn't give you certain experiences. So you become the lifelong parent to your inner child. So like I said, even if you live to be extremely old, you're still have that little like inner child part inside of you. And I've been doing a lot of work with my inner child lately, and it's hard work, but it's good. It pays off. It's just it can be a little difficult, but I would recommend to anyone interested in it to put some time and effort into your inner child. And that's why I want to ask the ancestors to please give us some wisdom about healing our inner child. What would you say, ancestors, from the other side, having lived the whole spectrum of a human life? What would be your advice for healing and working with an inner child? All right, we have write a letter. Along this healing journey, it can be helpful to write letters to your inner child. Powerful emotions can be released and expressed through letters. Writing a letter to your inner child, or as your inner child. If you have pulled this card, it's time to write a letter and listen to your intuition. So that's actually a really good place to start, because I think for a lot of us, like, we don't realize how much our inner child's like running the show, and we don't think about our inner child. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Like, even as someone who has done inner child healing and has an awareness of it, I still forget. I'm still like, I'm trying to heal some like abandonment issues from my inner child, but then I abandon my own inner child and like just forget about it. And so um, writing a letter, I think, is a good place to start, because I think that's the hardest place, is just to even kind of access that part of ourselves. So if you can write yourself a letter, either to your child or from your child, or both, it's a good place to start understanding your psyche, to start understanding these like different like parts of ourselves that we go around in a human body that's X amount of years old, but we have still these parts of ourselves that are each age that we've lived so far. We still have our teenage self within, we still have our child, our infant. I was even doing some like healing on like, not myself, but I was calling in some ascended masters yesterday, and they were like healing like my embryo. It was like, wow, like I'm still carrying that with me. That's crazy. So it is extremely liberating work, and it is kind of a hard thing to navigate. Sometimes we're gifted with relationships that really trigger that part of ourselves. Um, and it's really difficult, but it's actually a blessing and a gift, really, because it is kind of a hard thing to conceptualize sometimes, and it's a hard thing to start to work with. So I think, yeah, writing a letter is a good practical place to start to open up that communication. You could even do like a journal where you just kind of silence yourself and ask your inner child, what it needs today, what it would like, what would make it feel seen and loved and fulfilled. Because even if you don't have any kids, you are a parent to your own self for life. But, once you realize that and you can start healing those wounds and like making your inner child happy, then it kind of changes your whole energy towards everything else. It's like those Russian dolls where they're all stacked inside of themselves. Like we're like that, in our psychology. So if you don't have a happy inner child, it's pretty, sorry, dates. I blame the dates. If you don't have a happy inner child, it's hard to be a happy adult. That's just the fact of it. So anyway, that's the ancestral advice today, is to write, get the dialogue going, to get the acknowledgement and the dialogue going. All right, I have to make a third shout out to my dear friend. You know who you are, my superstar friend, who gave me a gift certificate to buy some tarot cards. And so this is also a new deck I'm going to share with you guys today. It's called The Path of Light, and it's based on the Bhagavad Gita, which is a Hindu spiritual text. And let's get some advice from Spirit on this path of light. Dear ancestors, do you have a message for us today? This Path of Light Oracle. I just love this image too. Like, I just gotta zoom in on that. Like just this tree and how lit up it is. I love trees. Trees are like, one of our biggest ancestors. I had a message the other day. It's like if you have something you want to tell somebody and you can't tell it to them either because there's distance or they're on the other side, like the message I got, it was just an intuitive thing. It was like, tell it to a tree. Like, like the tree, like trees have like, these amazing root systems and the mushroom, mycelium systems. I may have said that wrong. And I feel like they would get the message somehow to whoever you want to tell it to, if you tell it to a tree. I don't know. It was just kind of a little intuitive download I got. But trees are very amazing ancestors. They're very soothing. You can make friends with a tree and go hang out with it and just kick it and talk to it. Not kick the tree, kick it like, hang out. But yeah, I have some tree friends that are very much give me that, loving energy, that supportive energy. So sorry, it's not part of the reading yet, but just that image of the tree brought up that for me. So I want to share that trees are amazing, amazing ancestors to work with. Okay, dear ancestors, what message do you have for us today? Going through this Path of Light Oracle. The teachings from the Hindu Bhagavad Gita. I don't have a religion in this lifetime, but I'm quite sure I've had lifetimes of being Hindu. I'm very drawn to that whole, I don't know if it's a belief system per se, but it's just very cosmic and I like it. I wonder too if like the shuffling's taking so long because it's just that sort of like it's like making a very long distance phone call to access the ancestors. Like they're way out there. They're not that far out there, but it's just funny. I've just noticed like the shuffling's taking a long time today. Dear ancestors, what message would you like to give us through this beautiful oracle? Also, because it's a new deck, the cards are kind of stuck together, so it might be taking a little longer to get the message because they haven't gotten loosened up yet. I've started celebrating Day of the Dead in the last few years, and it's a Mexican holiday, but there's also All Saints Day. It's a Catholic holiday, so you might have a tradition already, but it is nice to take one day out of the year where you light some candles and put up pictures of your loved ones, and you could decorate with some flowers and just kind of say hi to everybody. Sometimes they come by and say hi back, but it's a ritual that I've really come to enjoy, to hang out, kind of have a party with the ancestors and talk to them all and think about them and thank them and just acknowledge them. It really does help you remember that they're still always with you. All right. I'm just going to take one card because they were kind of stuck together. So this is a powerful message coming through. Aim at God, which I feel like is something the ancestors would tell us because they're there in that place that is so close to God, that's so close to, however you define that, the universe, source energy, the higher love, the Holy Spirit, the all that is. I don't want to make anyone get triggered over the word God, but they're there in that realm, and so I think that they would definitely tell us, like, keep that your aim in life, that keep your focus on that creator that you return to. It says you're being called to dedicate your life to walking with God, with your true self in light. Orient to your life this way and dedicate everything you do to serving God. To assist with this aim, create a set of routines and practices that you can perform daily that will help you to stay on track with your intentions. With your actions dedicated to God, with fearlessness, steadfastness, and the mind controlled and anchored in me, meditate with me is the ultimate goal. It goes on to say, God is not a separate being watching and judging us, but rather the unmanifest realm of pure potential, a field of pure energy and consciousness. God is the one source from which flows all manifested things in the entire universe. God is not separate from existence, it is existence. It is imbued in every corner of the universe and everything in it, including us. Sorry, they switch back and forth between like words in another language, so I'm just trying to make it one cohesive message. In life, we have so many duties and demands on our attention, so many roles and responsibilities, and so much to do each day to maintain life. It's extremely difficult to not get completely absorbed in it all and become overwhelmed and lost in everything that we have to do. It's easy to forget our relationship with God under these circumstances. One of the best things we can do to guard against this and keep ourselves on track is to create a routine and set practices and rituals that we can do each day to remind us of what is important and what we are trying to achieve. There are many practices that will help you connect to your true self and aim at God. My favorite morning practices are yoga. This is for the book, not for me. My favorite morning practices are yoga, meditation, prayer, chanting, mantra, and breathing, as well as reviewing ideals, values, visions, and practicing gratitude. My favorite evening practices are reading books on wisdom traditions, contemplation, reflection, and writing, plus gratitude, meditation, and prayer again. So yeah, I feel like the ancestors would tell us this because they are close to God. They're in that realm, and God is like, from what I understand, God is very different than what we're taught, by religion. It's not man in the sky that judges you. It's the unity of all of us. It's that powerful, amazing cosmic thing that we all are. We're all a part of it. It's a part of us. And everyone who describes, going to that white light, they're just like, they're just filled with the most word, like impossible to describe love and peace and acceptance, and it's like, if that's where you're headed back to, then you can live this life on earth with a little bit more grace and a little bit more patience and a little bit more reverence, for the gift that it all is. So, anyway, please don't. I'm not telling anyone to be religious here, but it does help us to remember that we are all connected, that God is, love is, my definition of it, the all that is, and that we are all a part of it and each other. All right. So let's do one more card to finish up today. I always like to finish with the Sacred Destiny Oracle. So, dear ancestors, can you please give us a message to close out today? I want to say thank you, each and every one of you, for showing up and giving us your wisdom, your love, your guidance. Thank you that you're with us each and every day, that we can always talk to you, we can always access you. Thank you for the great gifts that you've given us to just be able to walk on this earth in these bodies that you've, helped to create, to help to feed and nurture and bring up and give wise counsel to. Thank you for all the gifts that you give us. Both our human ancestors, our ancestors of the earth and the oceans and the mountains and the plants and the animals and the minerals, the ancient teachings, all these wonderful guides that we have. Dear Spirit, do you have a final message for us today? What would you tell us from the realm of spirit, from our ancestors? All right, they're giving us a message of abundance. That's a fun message. It's funny, it's not a chamomile, but it kind of reminds me of the first card that we pulled, right? It's like kind of this, I don't know, I like observing the little patterns. Like we started with some flowers, we're ending with some flowers. I'm just going to pull chamomile back out because I like that kind of circular thing that happened with this reading. It says abundance, wildflower wonderland. Wildflowers are not intentionally planted. They are untamed, natural, and free. Their fragrance calls bees to pollinate them, so that seeds are created to continue the cycle of life. These kinds of natural flowers don't try to be profuse and beautiful. They just are, without struggle or worry. They are abundant without effort. Prosperity is your birthright, and the grand profusion of a field of untamed flowers reminds you that a windfall is coming. It's simply a matter of aligning your vibration and frequency with that which you desire to manifest. I just want to say too, like abundance, like we think mostly of money with that, but I think in the spirit of this reading, it's a reminder that we have an abundance of everything that we need. We have an abundance of ancestors, we have an abundance of love, we have an abundance of wisdom, we have an abundance of teachings, we have such an abundance of love, and I'm not excluding money from that. Of course, we need money to survive in this world. And if you're taking this as a message that, financial prosperity is coming for you, then yeah, it's great. Like we all need money, but I'm just saying, like with this card, I'm feeling that we just have such an abundance of everything that we need, and it might require us to be a little bit more open-minded about the source of getting our needs met, but that there's always so many, plants, animals, crystals, ascended masters, teachers. Like there's such an abundance of love here for us that's coming through for me. The sacred landscape wants you to know everything is blossoming in life. Open yourself to receive. Abundance, fulfillment, and prosperity are ready to be activated in your life. Life desires you to prosper. You're moving towards an outpouring of money, energy, time, or love. Opportunities are limitless. However, you must take action in the direction of your dreams. Don't wait for abundance to fall into your lap. Take steps. Give deeply and fully. Don't hold back. This card reveals that this is a great time to make investments. The more you give with a free and open heart, the more you will receive. Be grateful for what you already have, and even more will flow to you. All right. I think too, like something that's coming through for me, like for my family line, is like a lot of us didn't grow up with like a financial abundance, and I think from this perspective of spirit, you realize like how abundant the universe is, that there really isn't any limitations, that there really isn't a reason. Like sometimes we do go through struggles to build our character and to experience things from a different perspective, but that ultimately the universe is an extremely abundant place, and it wants us to be happy and blessed and have all of our needs met. And so while we do go through challenges and restrictions at times, I think the message here is that Spirit wants us to know that that's not meant to be our final destination. That it's not a unbreakable curse of scarcity that we go through. That it's the ultimate truth of this universe is abundance, abundance of love, abundance of care, abundance of everything that we need. All right. Thank you, ancestors, for being with us today. And I thank you guys for being with me. I promise to never again eat dates before my reading and be this spacey. But I love you, sending so much love. I hope you have a very fun, fall holiday season, whatever you celebrate. And I'll see you next time. All right, goodbye.